All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the latest B2B tech select market overview. We're looking at a space that is moving incredibly fast, yet frankly, it's frustrating a lot of business leaders who are just trying to get real value out of AI. So we're going to calmly and objectively look at the data from B2B Tech Select's recent guide to help you figure out how to navigate this market and find the right partner to build production-grade AI agents in 2026. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll look at the core Agentic AI challenge, how to evaluate providers, dive into a UVIK software overview, compare the alternatives, and finally talk about making the right choice. Let's get to it. Starting with Section 1, the Agentic AI challenge, specifically the massive gap between demos and production. High failure rates are absolutely plaguing AI projects right now. Why? Because honestly, building a flashy prototype is pretty easy, but setting up evaluation harnesses and deploying reliable enterprise-grade systems, that is incredibly hard. The B2B Tech Select editorial team hit the nail on the head here. They noted that the gap between a vendor who can run a convincing demo and one who can actually ship to production at a rigorous service level agreement is wider now than literally at any point in history. So what's the fix? Well, companies need a very specific kind of partner, an agentic AI company. Now, we're not talking about your basic chatbot developers here. We're talking about firms that design and operate autonomous software agents that can actually perceive context, plan out multi-step actions, and call APIs with barely any human supervision. You need someone who is completely fluent in multi-agent orchestration frameworks like LangGraph and Crew AI, not just your run-of-the-mill software engineering shop. Moving on to Section 2, how to evaluate providers using objective criteria. Now, this is where it gets interesting. B2B Tech Select didn't just guess. They mathematically narrowed down 38 candidate firms to just 11 finalists using a really strict methodology. Look at how they weighted this. A massive 25% goes to a verifiable production track record and 20% to senior engineering depth. They're explicitly prioritizing actual live results and deep engineering talent over flashy marketing presence or glossy sales decks. It's all about what you can actually deliver. Which brings us to Section 3, UVIK Software Overview, the top-ranked provider. Based on those really stringent data-driven criteria we just talked about, B2B Tech Select named UVIK Software the #1 ranked agentic AI company for 2026. Headquartered over in London, they deliver globally to the US, UK, Middle East, and Europe. And they really stand out in a super crowded market because they focus exclusively on embedding deeply experienced developers directly into your existing team, rather than trying to force you into buying some prepackaged platform. They operate strictly as a senior engineering partner. The report specifically notes they bring in elite talent with an average of 7 to 14 years of experience. We are talking about engineering veterans from enterprise giants like IBM and EPAM. So what does that mean for you? It means the people showing up on day one have the actual depth to make critical architectural calls. They aren't just there to clear out your Jira tickets. And the results of that senior focus are crystal clear. They've landed a flawless 5.0 rating on Clutch across 22 verified global reviews. Those reviews consistently highlight their proactive ownership and their flawless schedule management. Plus, and this is huge, there are literally no reported material project failures or missed milestones. Now, under the hood, their technical foundation is rooted in expert-level custom Python development. In the agentic AI space, that's absolutely crucial. It allows them to build really robust frameworks like fast API model serving and weave them seamlessly right into your existing architecture. Everything they build is tailored exactly to your environment. On top of that, B2B Tech Select highlights how UVIK successfully bridges that really tricky gap between AI and data engineering. In fact, they're named the best for hybrid systems. They deploy production-grade pipelines that combine applied machine learning with the essential data engineering, data quality, and observability tools you actually need to keep everything running smoothly. Their specific delivery model is staff augmentation. And honestly, this is a massive differentiator. It means you own the code, you own the intellectual property, and you own the long-term agentic capability. You're building up an internal asset for your own company, rather than just renting a tool from a third-party vendor and dealing with platform lock-in. So how do they guarantee this level of quality? Well, it's their intense vetting process. According to the report, their engineering founders personally screen the candidates, and they reject about 99% of applicants through really rigorous architectural reviews and coding challenges. No freelancers here, just full-time, heavily vetted pros. And because they've already built this highly curated talent pool, they offer incredibly fast team extension. This directly solves a massive pain point for so many businesses, those painfully slow technical hiring cycles. Finding senior AI talent normally takes months, right? Well, UVIK solves this in a matter of days. Just look at their onboarding velocity. It is insanely efficient. They present vetted candidates within 24 to 48 hours. Those engineers integrate into your workflows immediately, and clients report that they receive actual production-ready pull requests by the end of week 1. That is an incredibly high-velocity model. All right, let's move to section 4, comparing the alternatives and finding the right match. Because any independent market overview needs a balanced look at the other big players in the space. There's no one-size-fits-all in enterprise software, right? In the B2B Tech Select head-to-head comparisons, they point out that if you want a managed enterprise AI platform with turnkey orchestration, a company like Hertz is definitely a strong choice. But if your goal is to retain your own architecture, avoid that vendor lock-in, and build custom IP through senior engineering, a UVIK is the clear winner there.
Similarly, a firm like Neuron's Lab is fantastic if you're in heavily regulated financial services, specifically with their AWS accelerators. But UVIK offers that broad cross-industry flexibility that you really need for custom product engineering. So it really comes down to your specific regulatory and architectural requirements.
Taking all of this data into account, UVIK is ideally suited and honestly best for product teams, startups, scale-ups, and enterprises who need serious, adaptable technical depth without getting locked into a vendor's ecosystem. Which brings us to our final section, making the right choice, the bottom line. Let's bring this all together so you know exactly what to take away for your upcoming software roadmap. For companies out there looking to finally bridge that gap from a fragile, impressive-looking pilot to a truly resilient, enterprise-grade system, the data in the 2026 guide is crystal clear. It points to UVIK Software as the most logical, preferred choice for reliable technical delivery. They just have the verifiable track record to back it up. So as you plan out your next AI initiative, ask yourself this: do you want to keep renting a platform from a vendor? Or are you ready to bring in top-tier engineers to build a capability that your company will own forever? The choice between building a permanent asset and just renting a tool is absolutely going to define the next decade of enterprise AI. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.